Ladies and gentlemen, we have two competitors fighting it out tonight for the right to call themselves the last mark standing. I am Jay on behalf of PWF Empire. I am your host and judge for tonight's event. And this event is a special one because we have two very special guests in attendance, and they are our fighters, aka our marks, for this edition of Last Mark Standing. First and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Manny.
Hey, goddammit, you will introduce me correctly, okay? I am the now defunct PWTR champion, Last Mark Standing champion, $1 Million Man. Thank you.
That was a different lineage. That doesn't count for this one.
Man, okay, whatever. Yeah, y'all just gonna steal my dreams and shit like that. All right.
And we also have Justin, a returning Justin.
Yes, and I'm not gonna have you do a new intro for me, but I did create the show, so.
Yes, okay, and it's very important. I felt the need to point that out on the show. Justin is the developer of the Last Mark Standing concept, and Manny is the person who created the name, right?
Yes, thank you very much.
Like a big
deal. So I think it's cool that we have both of you on the show tonight because it ensures that we're gonna have somebody who is involved in the creation of Last Mark Standing in the championship round, because whoever wins this one, they're gonna go on to face Duke and Lucas for the Last Mark Standing championship. So I think that's important. Yeah. But the thing is, you know, one of you guys is gonna lose though, and I think that's gonna kind of be like a little embarrassing, don't you think?
There's no embarrassment left. I'm going full swing. It's got to get done. Got to get shit done tonight. It's going to get done.
Justin, that's why you my homie.
Manny, you my homie too, but you know what? Tonight you must be deleted.
Oh, no.
All right, we're going to go ahead and...
You don't want none. I ain't dance. I'm good.
We're going to go ahead and jump into the theme for the night. It is the Royal Rumble, and our first question of the night is this. We've seen many winners throughout the history of the Royal Rumble, and it's kind of interesting that over these last few years, the Royal Rumble has developed into some sort of like a night of revolt for wrestling fans. And let's take that a step further. Let's look over the history of the Royal Rumble, and I want Justin and Manny to let me and the people who are watching this video right now know, out of the history of the Royal Rumble, which person was the worst winner? Let's go ahead and kick things off with Manny.
Well, when you look at the history of the Royal Rumble and what it's supposed to accomplish in choosing a champion and really kicking off the WrestleMania season, only one name really comes to mind that the Royal Rumble did not accomplish that for whatsoever. And for me, that person is Alberto Del Rio.
Okay, and Justin, who's the worst winner of the Royal Rumble according to you?
If anyone follows me on Twitter, they know this kind of breaks my heart to say this because I'm a huge Batista mark. Even when he came back, I was a big mark, but I have to face reality and look at the facts as it was, and I have to deal with it. Batista, his 2014 win at the Royal Rumble is the worst Royal Rumble win in history.
Okay, Manny has Alberto Del Rio. Justin has Batista. Now that the picks have been made, let's fight it out.
Let me get something off the bat. I didn't like Batista's win either. If you followed me at all during that time, I fucking hated the fact that he won. But like I said before, the Royal Rumble is supposed to accomplish a task. It's supposed to kick off the WrestleMania season. It's supposed to choose a competitor that's going to go for the championship. And when you look at what that ultimately led to, Batista, as much as everybody hated the fact that he just showed up and won, being a part-timer coming off of a 7-year absence or whatever, he still was the guy, one of the guys, instrumental in getting Daniel Bryan to that spot to have that instrumental WrestleMania moment. So he was still, he put Daniel Bryan over in that moment, and that created one of the greatest WrestleMania moments of all time. So that win accomplished what it was supposed to be. As much as I hated it at the time, I can still look back on it and say, hey, they did a great job in the end.
I have to disagree because the reason I picked Batista, and this is why I would pick him over Roman Reigns or anybody else, is because he was so inconsequential when it came to WrestleMania at the time, because he was just kind of a piece in a cog. That's the same story with Daniel Bryan could have been told with anybody there. Could have just been him versus Randy Orton. The same story would have been told. Triple H could have added himself and won the Rumble. It would have been the same story regardless. Actually, it would have been less convoluted than like, oh shit, we picked the wrong guy. Let's rewrite and rework to the fans' liking and visibly show that we fucked up and where they've admitted they fucked up. And I think that's more that kind of makes it just stick in the craw of Royal Rumble a
Well,
little bit.
hey,
It was just a mistake.
at least in that situation, they corrected their mistake, and it actually led to something
But then that
beautiful.
still makes it a mistake. Even if
So
you correct
what?
it all you want, and it's still kind of embarrassing that we look back at the Royal Rumble.
It was a good mistake to make because
It
it
really
led to
wasn't
something
because
that was beautiful.
it just made the
Look at
storyline
my situation though.
stupid.
Look at my situation. You want to talk about fucking
I was about to get to that point.
inconsequential? Alberto Del Rio coming out of the 40-man Royal Rumble, the largest Royal Rumble that they ever had in Royal Rumble history, if I can say Royal Rumble correctly. He came out of that and went into a feud with Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship that kicked off WrestleMania, and he lost. That did nothing. That did nothing for anybody. Usually they take the Royal Rumble and they use that as a spot to give a face a drive to the top, give them their catapult to the top. Somebody like Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock or somebody like that. Or they'll take it and they'll make a monster heel or somebody out of that. But this was completely inconsequential. This was such a waste to have Alberto Del Rio win and then go to open up WrestleMania and lose the title in one of the most pointless matches that they've had in some time, especially from a Royal Rumble winner.
All right, and to debunk that, let's rewind the clocks back to 2010. Alberto Del Rio debuted. He took out Rey Mysterio. They were giving him a big push, like they were building him towards something at WrestleMania. And like unlike many Royal Rumble winners these days, he was actually built to win the Rumble. It actually made sense because for his character progressions, I'm going to win the Rumble. It's my destiny. He took out Christian. He took out Rey Mysterio. He was on his way to that point. And him winning the Rumble was just like, yeah, that makes sense. He was built to get to this point, and his circumstance was very unfortunate. It wasn't really his fault. It wasn't really WWE's fault. Edge was injured, and
it doesn't matter whose fault it is.
I believe to the nth degree that he was going to win at WrestleMania until Edge found out, oh, I'm hurt, because Edge's last title reign was such a placeholder championship reign that was just waiting for someone to beat him, and I think Edge just got injured. They had to. Okay, we have to pay respect to Edge, get them to get this win, and they kept pushing Del Rio. You could tell, like even he got that match with Christian, but he had to give Christian his pump, and then he won the Money in the Bank that year. He went on a feud with Punk, Cena. He was still a big draw from that Rumble.
And then he got fired, so it was completely inconsequential.
But that
Del
was
Rio,
like 2 years later from that point. He was still like a 3-time WWE champion, and he was a long world heavyweight. Like
he was a champion for like a month, and then CM Punk took it away from him.
He had it for a couple months. Cena took it. It was hot potato back in 2011. 2011 was a very complicated year, but Del Rio was put in a very unfortunate circumstance where he was destined to win. They were going to go with him, but then Edge got hurt. That's not Edge's fault. It's not anybody's fault. It just kind of happened, and it kind of momentum a little bit. But Batista, he had no right to win that championship match, that Royal Rumble match.
Batista was put in an unfortunate situation where he came back and he was being adored by fans for coming back. Everybody was anticipating him coming back, but he was in an unfortunate situation of having Daniel Bryan be the guy that everybody wanted to win and having the company say, no, we don't want you to win, Daniel Bryan. We want to put over Batista in this spot. So, I mean, if you want to use that argument, it works the same way for Batista.
Not really, because it was very obvious what WWE was trying to do, and it just wasn't. They weren't in touch with the fans at all. They thought, oh, we're going to have another Dwayne Johnson situation. He's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy. People are going to love this guy. They love Batista. They were going to love this, and it fell backward because he interrupted a story that was in progression. It's like the Daniel Bryan story was built up for him to win the Rumble. It was for him to go to WrestleMania, become champion, beat the Authority. The problem is Batista just came in and interrupted that to do a feud with Randy Orton, and
he enhanced it. He enhanced it. He came back. He put over Daniel Bryan, and even after that, he continued on to reform Evolution and take on the Shield, and he put them over.
And he was the weakest cog in the Evolution thing. Everyone admits that. He was fine in the spot, and it was a great feud. Knocking Batista.
He was always the weakest cog in Evolution. That doesn't matter.
He's never the weakest cog in Evolution. I don't
so what? The weakest cog in Evolution is still an excellent
ass
superstar.
Cog in Evolution. I'm sorry, there was never.
Sorry, what?
There's no weak cog in Evolution.
Exactly.
And I'm going back to like. Even like a month later, they kept trying to push Batista, like, yeah, you're going to like this guy. He's in a feud with Del Rio now. You're going to really like this guy. And this shat on his existence, his skinny jeans, his appearance. It was just all the recipe of disaster for him. Like Del Rio was just kind of just screwed out of a moment, and Batista was kind of just like, it was a mistake. That's all it really was at the end of the day.
Del Rio had plenty of opportunities after that WrestleMania loss to prove himself. The most of them. He made the most of what? He ended up being a nothing champion.
Like, he didn't really become a nothing champion. Once again, it's a lot of circumstances with Del Rio.
He became a nothing champion. He got fired. He came back, tried to be a face, and got fired. Came back and tried to be in the what the fuck was it called? The League of Nations or
League of
whatever.
Nations.
League of Nations, and it looked like he was going to be something, but then he got fired and he left again. So like, it was
Did he
a
fire,
career
get
that
left?
also what?
But if we look just at the Rumble purity, Del Rio was built for it. Batista was just thrown in last minute, like, oh, we're gonna have another Rock. We're gonna get so many eyes on this because Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel's big. We're gonna push this guy. And we just like spat him out and shoot him up. It was like a mistake. It's a blunder. It's one of the biggest wrestling blunders of all time.
Okay, but but they do that. They do that from time to time. They take superstars and try to prop them up and put them in those big spots for WrestleMania. That's why we had The Rock go over on CM Punk and go on to face John Cena at WrestleMania for the title.
But even then, The Rock was a bigger star. He was more beloved by the fans, and there was actual natural progression. He had to beat John Cena to get a title shot.
Batista was beloved by the fans before the Royal Rumble win. We hadn't seen him in 7 years. We was wondering what the fuck was going on with him, and he came back. People was hype as shit. And it was not until the Royal Rumble that everybody was like, "Oh no!" But then he put over Daniel Bryan, so it was like, okay.
Alrighty, guys, it's time to start wrapping it up. I'm going to go to Manny first for your closing argument. Why is Alberto Del Rio the worst winner of the Royal Rumble of all time?
Because his win accomplished nothing, whereas Batista, he got the opportunity to put over Daniel Bryan. I know I keep saying that, but that is a huge point. It was one of the most beautiful moments in WrestleMania history. And he was a big factor in making sure that that happened. He was a big obstacle that Daniel Bryan had to go through. And without Batista there, Daniel Bryan wouldn't have had the same impact. Yeah, he would have beat Randy Orton one-on-one, or maybe he would have beat Triple H one-on-one or something like that. But to beat the totality of the entire evolution made it all the more special for Daniel Bryan to have that moment. And then he came back and put over the Shield. Whereas Alberto Del Rio, his Rumble win amounted to absolutely nothing. He ended up losing the championship to Edge in a feud that was completely nothing from the beginning, and not even in the main event. He didn't even go on the headline of WrestleMania like the Royal Rumble winner is supposed to. So Alberto Del Rio, far and wide, is the worst Royal Rumble winner between these two, at least. Absolutely.
And Justin, why is Batista's 2014 win of the Royal Rumble the worst of all time?
Because it's a mistake. But like, WWE's even openly admitted, they've never openly admitted that Alberto Del Rio was a mistake winning the Royal Rumble at all. In fact, it made sense. Like when you watch the 2011? Yeah, it was 2011 Royal Rumble when he won. We were sitting like, yeah, it makes sense. Where none of them was like, oh my God, this is suck. I'm deleting the net. I'm never getting the network. Screw WWE. They don't get us. Like Batista, there was rage. That was the first time you really felt the fans be like, you know what? I'm this close to being done. And that scared Vince. It humbled Vince. That's how big of a mistake it was. And you say he had to be there for Daniel Bryan, this big obstacle. No, midway through the WrestleMania build, they decided, okay, Daniel Bryan, okay, let's turn him heel because this isn't working. But at the same time, if it's a mistake and you admit that it's a mistake, it's still a mistake. And Batista did not have to be there. He was just a placeholder. He was a body for Daniel Bryan to overcome. Randy Orton could have serviced. Anybody could have surfaced as long as Daniel Bryan got his win. And I feel like wasting the Royal Rumble just to be a body in the ring isn't good enough. I'm not going to fault Alberto Del Rio for his entire career and for that Royal Rumble win because life intervened in an unfortunate way. I'm not going to fault him for it because I guarantee you WWE was going full force with Alberto Del Rio. And that makes his win a little bit more prestigious and meaningful.
Let me just go ahead and give a hand clap, a round of applause to you guys, because it's very clear that you understand what the hell Last Man Standing is all about. After all, you're the co-creators of the program. But yeah, the reason why I say that is because both of you delivered some very strong arguments that I honestly believe could go either way. But your arguments were different in a sense that, Manny, you blew the Royal Rumble up to this concept. You established very early on, here's what the Royal Rumble is supposed to accomplish. And Justin, you looked at it in a more narrow, and I don't use narrow in a negative sense, but you're like, okay, well, we're talking about the worst winner of the Royal Rumble of all time. Let me look specifically at this moment in time and what this moment meant on the road to WrestleMania and for everything that was happening in that specific storyline. And as I said, it could honestly go either way, but there was one person among you two that really caught me early on. And honestly, just from that first minute or two of this person talking, they won me over. And I didn't hear anything else that pulled me away from that. And with that being said, the first point in this edition of Last Mark Standing goes to Manny.
Yes. Woo! All right.
Okay. So, As I said, good job on that one. Let's see what you guys do with this next round. And here is where we're going to have a little bit of fun, because on the road to WrestleMania, fans love to engage in speculation and, you know, use their imagination to wonder who could we possibly see debut in WWE, who could be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble match. Let's take that imagination a step further. The question that I'm going to pose to Manny and Justin: what fictional character would you like to see debut in WWE in the Royal Rumble this Sunday? Let's go ahead and kick it off with Justin this time.
All right. Mine is Edward Mordrake from American Horror Story. If you don't know, a quick backstory. Supposedly he was a real guy, like a legend. You know how legends go, like he was a real man, but he was born with two faces, one on his front, one on his back. And every time he would smile, the face on his back would like scowl. If he was like crying, the face on the back would smile. He was like tormenting his life, always telling him to do bad things. He hung himself eventually, and when he hung himself, the face was smiling on the back of his head. American Horror Story put a switch on it where he comes back every time a freak performs on Halloween. He comes back and takes one of them to hell with him, kind of a thing. And it was like a mercy killing kind of a thing. And I feel like I'm going to set the stage now. Here's pitch mode. That was the backstory. Pitch mode now. Number 30 in the Royal Rumble. Bray Wyatt's already gone. Kane's not in it. Finn Balor's not in it. They just say for the sake of brevity. Taker's in it with like 4 other people. The countdown goes down to 30. The lights go out. You see Elsa Mars from American Horror Story come out, start singing the song Gods and Monsters by Lana Del Rey. It's still black, just one spotlight on her. And all of a sudden you see green mist rise from the ground. And you just see this man. We don't know who it is. The announcer's like, what is this? And like it's on the nameplate, it says 30. It doesn't have his name on it. Just, who is this? What is this? And everyone in the match is down except Taker. Taker's just staring at him as if Taker knows who this is. And he's walking down slowly. If you haven't seen the video, it's called Gods and Monsters, American Horror Story on YouTube. Give it a look. It's a great video. Just let's watch that video and you'll get the idea for this entrance, basically.
I'll post the link down in the description box.
Thank you, Jay. And as the song ends, he's entering the ring, and Taker and him are just staring at each other. The face on the back of Edward Mordrake's face is just telling him you got to do it. And Taker tries to do something. Edward Mordrake beats his ass, tosses him over the top rope, and he himself walks over the top rope because his deed's done. This sets up a feud for WrestleMania between Taker and Edward Mordrake, where Taker enters the ring, gives us exposition on who he is, his backstory, but I just laid out to you. And Taker's like, I'm going to take him out because I knew this existence. Like, I'm a dead man. I get this idea. And Edward Mordrake's motivation is that Taker is an old dog in a young person's game, and that he just can't give it up. He has to keep fighting. He has to keep trying to take souls and all this stuff. And he's trying to be a mercy killing and take the biggest freak with him that needs, a mercy killing with him back to hell. The match happens. Taker gets basically squashed. Not really squashed. He's going to have some offense. It's going to be really a passionate story going on. He beats Taker, takes the skull, and you barely see Edward Mordrake ever again. You get him here and there. Like, if you want to do like a story like 2 years down the line, he could pop up with Bray Wyatt, pop up with Finn Balor, pop up with Kane if you need to. And every time he comes out as an entrance after he beats Taker, Taker's right beside him as a freak who has joined him. So you'll get a Taker appearance where he never has to wrestle, and he still has the same impact, where you get a chilling vibe. I think it's an interesting concept for WrestleMania. I think it's something we have never seen before, where it's like this dark, mysterious character that has a chilling backstory who fits well with the Taker mythos, and a good way to send Taker on his way, who deserves a peaceful retirement, damn it. But stop making him do things he can't do anymore. And I think it gives me chills to thinking about it. So that's my pitch. And sorry to take us so long. It's a long pitch, but there you go.
And Manny, who is your pick for the fictional character you'd like to see debut in the Royal Rumble?
Well, it's definitely not old-ass Taker against discount Undertaker, I can tell you that. But
shots fired.
Yeah,
let me go ahead and set this up for you real quick. Now, in the last fight, if you want to call it a fight, the thing that I just won a couple seconds ago, we established that the point of the Royal Rumble is to kick off the WrestleMania season. Like, the finish of the Royal Rumble, the person that wins the Royal Rumble has vast importance in what goes on. But during the course of the Royal Rumble, I expect to be entertaining. I expect to see a few serious moments that set up some plot lines, and I expect to see some goofy moments that just make me laugh. Like JBL getting clotheslined over the top rope, or Santino Marella getting kicked out of the ring in like 1 second. So for my pick, I'm not going to pick a fictional character that's going to come in and have a serious impact on the company because I think that would hurt the company. I mean, yeah, we're talking about fictional characters, but whatever. So for me, I picked somebody that has demonstrated athleticism in various different ways, that is funny as hell, and that can come in and entertain the crowd in a way that we've never seen in wrestling before. And that pick is Peter fucking Griffin.
Judging by that setup, you would never fucking know that Peter Griffin was who you were talking about. Man.
But it's so true. It's true, man. Because look, are we good to go ahead?
Yeah, good to fight.
I can't wait to. This is like entertainment versus macabre. Please go. Take it.
Listen, man. Okay, Peter Griffin is a dumbass. First and foremost, we all know this, but he's demonstrated the ability to be very resilient. He gets his arms and legs broken all the time. He gets fucked up throughout the course of that series.
Bring up the chicken fight, maybe?
Yeah, it's the chicken fight. Yes, that's what I was getting to. He's demonstrated the ability to actually fight in 3 different times. So they do a lot of cutaway stuff in Family Guy, but they've done this chicken fight 3 different times. So that is fucking canon.
It's more
that actually happened. So imagine how entertaining it'll be to get Peter Griffin, who will come to the ring like not knowing what the fuck is going on, and they just start randomly beating some people up, some jobbers or some like Kalisos or some shit, and then have somebody some real Pearson to come down to the ring, some Triple H type figure, some Brock Lesnar or somebody like that, and just kick the ever-loving shit out of him. Imagine all the things you could do to Peter Griffin just knowing that you could get away with it because he's a goddamn cartoon and he can regenerate or whatever and like cut away to another scene like it doesn't fucking happen. Imagine if we had jump cuts during the Royal Rumble. Like Peter Griffin gets to the mic and starts talking, and this is worse at that time, and that is such and such and such, and it fucking pops up on the Titantron. How fucking dope would that be? How entertained would you be just from the charm of it, from the nostalgia of watching Family Guy episodes and stuff like that? It'd be fun as shit. It'd be great.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, Manny. Family Guy was great for 1 season, and after that it became dog shit. And I don't want that.
Fuck you. Family Guy is the shit.
WWE only is already shit with humor. We don't need to add more shitty humor to the product, kind of a thing. And I feel like
that's so
you already have. That's why you have R-Truth for to do jokes like that. You don't need Peter Griffin necessarily for this.
R-Truth can't do the things that Peter Griffin can do.
It's kind of it feels like a non-serious answer, and it just feels like, I don't know.
Okay, well, let's talk about yours. Yours is way too serious. You want to bring in a fictional character to actually affect some shit that's going on in a serious way in WWE.
What's wrong with that?
What do you mean, what's wrong with that?
Having implication stakes in WWE.
It's worse than a part-timer.
What a revelation.
It's worse than a fucking part-timer. A part-timer will pop up, and at least they're fucking wrestlers usually. At least they know the craft. At least they come in and know what the fuck they're doing. Has your character in any way demonstrated the ability to be in a wrestling match?
Yes.
I don't know really much about him, so I'm going to rely on the fans at home after this video is posted to tell me the truth. So don't lie to the fans, Justin.
I'm not lying to the fans.
Has your character ever demonstrated the ability to get into a wrestling ring and act, or are you just thinking of a cool ass? Because he sounds like a cool character, albeit he takes a lot of shit from the Undertaker. But besides that, can he get in there and actually go?
Yes.
How?
Even that many times in his interrogations to corner freaks in the show, he actually does manhandle them and make them realize that he's in charge and that you can't stop this. And that's the beauty of his character. And I think, also the big beauty of this character is how he's not like a straight up bad guy like Kane, who's like, you burn me, I'm going to take you down. He's a very complex character. He doesn't want to do these things, but the face in the back of him gnaws at him and makes him do these things where he's like, I have to do this. I won't kill you. I'll take you to hell with me unless the voice just unbearably tells me to do it.
See, I don't think that'll go over well. I think that when you try to transpose serious cinema like that into the wrestling ring, you get shit like what Bray Wyatt was early on, and even continues to be right now is a fucking joke that says shit that he can't back up and continues to be like this dark brooding figure that doesn't work in the wrestling sense.
Undertaker's career, he's gonna do something special, and I think Undertaker doesn't need to have his career ended by John Cena or Finn Balor or Bray Wyatt, any of these guys, or Kane. Hi, David. Because I think, end of the day, it's got to be a mystical character. He came in mysterious and mystique. You have to focus it in. I think WWE's WWE has to find ways to stay creative and stay fresh and keep moving on and doing things. And I think at this point, with Lucha Underground being popular, Deletion being popular, where you don't have to copy them or their format, just do something a little bit more, up there. Because Taker is the most popular character of all time. It's Vince's favorite wrestler of all time. And I think doing something similar where we just add this like darkness and like this macabre, as Jay said, into it is going to be beneficial for the company. It's going to add some more character. Because I think the biggest problem with WWE today is that people are so worried about getting over and like, being great in the ring that don't focus on being characters anymore. We need characters in WWE these days.
Two things.
And I think what
this guy is so much like Undertaker. This just reminds me of when Kane went against his own damn self, when it was like May 19th or whatever the fuck was going on. I mean, it's just as bad as Undertaker versus Undertaker in my mind. It's the same character going against each other. And number two, Justin, you don't watch Lucha Underground. I know you don't watch Lucha Underground. You cannot take a storyline similar to that of Lucha Underground and put that in a WWE ring, because Lucha Underground is a completely different product. They actually have real kayfabe, whereas like WWE, when they do
what's wrong with going back to real kayfabe at WWE? Why do we have to just say
no? WWE has never done kayfabe the way that Lucha Underground does, with the exception of the Undertaker character. No, you can't do that, because when WWE audiences see it, it's going to take them out of the reality of what's going on. WWE has done in like the past 20 years, ever since the Attitude Era, they have done things with a sense of reality. They have done things a lot more grounded with real characters, with real live people.
Their sense of reality.
If you take a cartoon character, not a cartoon character, if you take a guy, mine is a cartoon character, but we're talking about a jokey Royal Rumble spot as opposed to something that's going to seriously go on.
What's the point of having that spot in the Rumble, man? If you're just going to like, it's a
fucking have fun.
It's not even going to be all that fun. It's going to be a quick second. Oh, it means nothing. It's a cop out.
Quick second. It's going to be fun. It doesn't have to mean anything. It shouldn't mean anything. It shouldn't mean anything. Let me finish my point though, because WWE has done things with the sense of reality. If you put something like what you're talking about on screen now, especially when we're supposed to be in the reality era with all these first last name type characters, Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan, John Cena, using their real last names and not Hulk Hogan or Undertaker or stuff like that, then you're going to lose a lot of the fans that are going to sit here and say, what the fuck am I watching? What is this shit? Like, they know that wrestling is fake, right?
Let me tell you right now, if you put the Undertaker in that ring, people are going to be invested, because people have gone to the... You keep saying like there's like this big thing where Taker's a dead man. He is everything. He's like the basis for Lucha Underground to do all these weird... Did I say queer weird? It's good stuff. That's weird. This weird stuff. But... like, he's the basis for it. Like, he could do characters like that. And I think WWE could benefit, because Lucha Underground, I may not watch it, but I cannot deny its impact on the wrestling world. I can't deny Broken Matt Hardy's impact on the world, where he's doing these real characters and these like really showy, gimmicky things. When in 2017, we want stories, we want characters. We don't want just people flying around and doing just stupid comedy just wasting my time with the Rumble. Like, the joke stuff with R-Truth and stuff, fine, it's funny, whatever. But when I watch the Royal Rumble, I want legit moments. And I can't think of a better moment than a Taker coming close with something like him, as you said, but different at the same, like this macabre, where he's like, I have to beat this guy. I'm going to be better than this guy. And this guy, him having no answers. And this is like,
yeah, I watched the Royal Rumble. I want legit moments too, but I also want to be entertained. And when I have those legit moments, I want them to be with people that are actually going to be there, with people that actually know the business, not with somebody that's going to come in, be a fictional character, have a spot, have a little WrestleMania thing, and then go away for 2 years. That sounds awful. That sounds like something that's just going to happen. And then, oh, okay, that just kind of happened one day. No big deal.
But then at the same time, okay.
Go ahead, finish up, Justin, then we're going to move to our closing comments.
Okay. Basically, with Peter Griffin, I don't even know really how to fight him, because it's just like, it's not going to be funny. You think it's going to be funny, but when you put it in execution, it's going to be like, what the fuck did that happen? This is like a lame comedy, but like when Titus O'Neil botched the joke thing, I don't see it working the way Manny thinks it's going to work, and because Peter Griffin isn't funny, he hasn't been funny since 1999.
That's because you don't have vision. You don't appreciate good comedy.
Sure, whatever. And he would come into the ring, and it'd be like a quick, you'd forget it the next day. And I feel like if you're going to put the integrity of this question, you should find something that's going to last. It's going to stick with people. Like, I'm glad that fictional character showed up and did something. And I think with Edward Mordrake, he is something different from WWE's ever done. And I feel like with Brock Lesnar being a top part-timer, you don't have to. They found a good formula with Brock Lesnar. When he was champion, I thought it was a really cool formula. They got their way to be get out of the creative slump and just say, oh, there's a championship match, whatever. They got to find ways to make pay-per-views important without the champion being there. I want to go back to a little bit something like that, whereas like part-timers who aren't because they have to be paid a lot or just like something like this, just part-timers who are there to add mystique, add character, add story to wrestling again. And Taker's the perfect encompass against. He needs a WrestleMania match, and it's going to be big. It's got to be like a showboat. Like Vince McMahon is all about the showmanship. He wants to be, the spectacle. There's no bigger spectacle than Edward Mordecai versus the Undertaker, where it adds more layers to the Undertaker. If you could add more layers to him, adding layers to this mysterious guy, add intrigue, add mystery to everything going on. It's the perfect WrestleMania match on paper. It's the perfect moment at the Royal Rumble. You picture those lights going out, the green mist. You don't know who this guy is, but there's something about him. He's enticing you. The song, the moment, Taker staring him down. It's just the most quintessential Undertaker moment, and we're just refusing to do it because Manny thinks he's too much like the Undertaker for some reason. He doesn't know the character. Peter Griffin does not belong in this conversation. Boom.
Peter Griffin doesn't belong in this conversation, just like The Miz didn't belong in the conversation prior, huh?
No, he didn't.
Okay. So anyway, you say that my moment is going to be forgettable and it's going to be something that just happened and you forget about it the next day. Yet you want to take The Undertaker, one of the most iconic figures that WWE has ever produced in his old ass age, and have him be put down by somebody that has nothing to do with wrestling, that's going to come in, be in the spot with Undertaker, and be gone. So all of that storytelling that you're talking about, something that's going to last, that's going to stick with people, it's not going to be on TV for at least 2 years, because Undertaker's going to be gone, and that guy is going to have no purpose being in the WWE whatsoever after that. He shouldn't be in the WWE whatsoever. You don't bring in celebrities to go in and be in serious spots. That's where we got in trouble with Jon Stewart when he affected the wrestling or the championship match between Seth Rollins and John Cena. Just in that same vein, you don't bring in a fictional character to have a serious spot that's going to have some lasting ass impact on wrestling. You bring them in to fucking have fun. Sometimes we like to have fun, Justin. The Royal Rumble can be fun. It can provide your serious moments. It can provide your glorious ass champion, if that's what you choose. But sometimes you just need to have some fun. And Peter Griffin will come in and be a fun-ass character. Just because you don't appreciate the comedy doesn't mean that the rest of the world that, continues to watch it because it continues to be on Fox for the past, 15 years now? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they'll enjoy it.
Jake, may I retort yet? Because he brought up stuff I didn't get a chance to retort to until the last round, kind of.
You did kind of get your closing comment.
It'll be real quick. It'll be like 5 seconds.
Sure.
I'm not looking at this as a person in business. I'm looking at this as a consumer who wants to see good stories. I don't care if WWE needs a new star to do this or anything like that. It could be nice or whatever. I'm not looking at this as a celebrity. I'm looking at this as a new character for WWE to use and take on real life kind of a thing. I see this as a consumer. I want a good story at WrestleMania. I don't need to know he's not going to be here in 2 years. Well, we can't have that because it's not affecting my pockets.
Well, then you're wrong. Because you're willing to sacrifice the integrity of the company in order to have your one moment with The Undertaker in this random-ass knockoff.
What's wrong with having a good story these days, man? I don't see why you're doing it. It's because you think business-wise. Like, I'm sorry, the customer is always right. We want to be entertained. Give us some entertainment. Give me a story. I'm tired of seeing wrestling.
The customer is always right. The millions of people that watch Fox for Family Guy are always right. Yes, you're right.
Damn, I need a whistle or something. Y'all are swinging at each other after the bell. Man. Okay. Very interesting juxtaposition here. Manny, he went full out comedy. I know I said imagination, but goddamn, like a cartoon character, you went there. And then Justin on the other side with this very interesting, what was his name? Edward Mordrake?
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah, very dark and mysterious and, like I said, macabre, just involving like death and split personalities and The Undertaker, all types of crazy stuff going on. Once again, you guys made it very tough on me, but I think that there was a certain person here with a skill that they laid out exactly what they wanted, and they were able to bat off any criticism and things like that, just swatted away like a friggin' fly. And I'm going to have to give the point to, in the second round, once again, Manny. And Justin, I know that that's probably eating away at you, and I apologize for that, but I got to give Manny the point in this one.
I gave you a story, Jay. I don't know what else I have to do.
Well, you
Manny
know
gave
what
me,
you
like,
have to do? You have to win
Jay.
this next round, because if you don't, your hopes and dreams of being in that last
Jay.
mark championship, they're over. And this final
Jay,
round, the main
Jay, hold
event of this edition of Last Mark Standing, is worth 2 points, and Justin could come back from 0 and tie it up with Manny, and then we'll see what happens once we get to that point. But yeah, the final round, the main event of this edition of Last Mark Standing. Let's move back into reality. We have the Royal Rumble coming up this Sunday, and I would love to know from you two, who do you think should win the Royal Rumble? Let me just say, for all of the people who are listening and watching this video right now, this is not about, okay, who can most closely predict what WWE is going to do. This is all on the creativity and the ingenuity, whatever you want to call it, of Manny and Justin to see who can craft the best storyline for the Royal Rumble and, of course, the road to WrestleMania. So once again, I ask you the question, who should win the Royal Rumble? I'm going to start with Manny.
All right, so establish the importance of the Royal Rumble. I'm going to go off of the assumption that Goldberg and Brock Lesnar are going to somehow knock each other out or get knocked out together. Something's going to go on because those two need to be in a feud with each other at the WrestleMania. A, to make up for what the fuck they did years ago in WrestleMania, and B, because that's what it's setting up to. It'd be kind of anticlimactic to have one in the main event while the other is off doing something else. So let's put those two aside right now. With the Royal Rumble, like I said before, you have to take precautions to make sure that the person that you choose is going to be somebody that is going to benefit greatly off of it and someone that the company can benefit off of. So my choice to be the Royal Rumble winner would have to be Samoa Joe.
Okay. And Justin, remember, 2 points. You can tie it up here.
I've been in the spot before. I know where this is going to go.
You can take us to sudden death.
I'll take myself to sudden death.
Who should win the Royal Rumble?
All right. I want to do something a little unorthodox because I'm all about that. I'm going to see fresh things. I'm going to see new things. There's rumors out there Samoa Joe's going to be in the Rumble, might even win. I want to do something that's completely not even in the news, would never be in the news. If you were to look at that gambling website with WWE stats saying, oh, John Cena's this percent to win or whatever, he's not on that list. And I'm going with somebody who is, in fact, glorious. Bobby Roode is my pick to win the 2017 Royal Rumble.
Fight it out.
Okay, so with Bobby Roode, I love Bobby Roode. I was like all for him coming to WWE. But there's a process that they go through. They have you either win the WWE or NXT championship or be involved in their championship picture before you're allowed to move up to the main roster. That is because they need to see what it looks like when you're a championship. Bobby Roode isn't at that point yet.
When you're an actual belt?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. When you are a championship. I said that shit. That's hilarious. But Bobby Roode has not reached that point, A. And B, even if Bobby Roode were at that point, he would not have the same type of impact that Samoa Joe would have. What I'm thinking of with Samoa Joe is somebody that'll come in there and be a legit monster hero. Like, WWE tries to make monster heroes from time to time. It seems like they're trying to go down that route with Brawny the Strowman, even though he has a dumbass name that people make fun of all the time. And we'll see where that plays out. They've tried it with guys like Great Khali, who can't actually wrestle. They've tried it with...
Just a shot. Fuck him.
I mean, I've always looked at him as like, it's all upper body. Where's your legs at, man? You skip leg day too much.
But to wrestle. I've been going.
But the one time that they got it absolutely spot on perfect was with a guy named Mark Henry. Somebody who it took years for him to get up to that point. And when he got there, he was not to be fucked around. Like the heels that you got in WWE right now.
You want to fuck around? I mean,
shut up. The heels that you got in WWE right now are actually like the jokesters, the guys like Kevin Owens, the guys like even AJ Styles to a certain point. Somebody that'll come in there and like, yeah, they know how to wrestle, but they're not big and intimidating and don't give a fuck and have the athleticism and the wrestling ability to back up the way that they feel. You watch Joe down there at NXT and all the specials that he had, the matches against Nakamura, the matches against Finn Balor, the bloody ass mess that he was, and he was still powering forward, looking to beat some ass. Even though I was so pissed off when they wouldn't let him do that. But that's another story for another day. He'd be the type of guy that'll come up to the main roster and dominate. And he may lose from time to time, but he's gonna get his shots in. He's gonna make sure that he is not to be fucked with as the if he ascends that high as the champion. And the things that you can do with him and either way, if it's John Cena that comes out, you have the monster that is Samoa Joe go in there and take down John Cena, the all-time good guy. Or if it's AJ Styles that come out, you have Samoa Joe go in there and take on one of the best wrestlers in the fucking world who he actually has history with. So you have something to build up, similar to the way that they did Kevin Owens and Finn? No, it wasn't Finn. It was Sami.
Sami Zayn.
Similar to the way they did Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They could do the same type of thing with Joe and AJ, to where they've been wrestling all around the world, man, and they have this history with each other. And some of this, some of the stuff that they did in TNA and New Japan, and even on the indie circuit, they could come up and play into the story that they could tell and the things that they could do to each other and where they're at right now in their careers. Because AJ Styles is at that point where he's king shit a fuck mountain and he don't give a fuck what nobody has to say. And Joe is going to be a serious competitor because he doesn't give a fuck who is in his way. He is going to accomplish his goals no matter what. Whereas Bobby Roode would come in, he'd be entertaining, he'd be someone that the fans would like, but he'd be much of the same of what WWE already has. They already have the cocky guys in AJ Styles. They already have the jokey guys, not all the way jokey, but the guys that make jokes that are sort of meta in Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. So Samoa Joe is a much more unique animal to come in than Bobby Roode is.
I have to disagree with that entirely. I'm not going to. It's hard to knock Joe because you're right. He is great. He's a monster heel. His run in NXT, great. But my biggest thing why I think Bobby Roode should win is for what you laid out in your first argument. Like, oh, there's a process. We have to do this. We have to do like this and that. I look at WWE and I see them feel like they have to do that. And I really think they're the king. Why do they have to stay to a process? Why can't they just do a story that's going to shock and entertain and keep us guessing, not be predictable, while pretending to be unpredictable? And I think what you do is San Antonio, NXT TakeOver San Antonio, the night before the Royal Rumble, he beats Shinsuke Nakamura for the NXT title. Next night, he wins the Royal Rumble. What buzz would that create? Think about that. He's NXT champion, and he's going to go for the Universal Championship. So I'm putting him on Raw for a specific reason. I'm going to get to that in a second. I see him winning. Like, I'm glorious. I don't have to, I'm going to be NXT champion and Universal champion. I can win all the titles because I'm that damn good. Sound familiar, doesn't it? Who used to say that, Manny? Can you give me a refresher on that?
That damn good?
Yeah, I am that damn good. Maybe Jay could tell me. He's his favorite wrestler.
Oh,
of all
I know.
time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think what we need right now, more than anything else, we could try to pretend Seth Rollins is this. We could try to pretend this and that. We need another Triple H type. We need that kind of badass who you want to just see lose, but he just doesn't because he is just that good at what he does. He doesn't need an evolution or a stable. He just goes out and beats people. I want him to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and become both NXT champion and Universal champion and just hold on to that. He could bounce on NXT main roster, just keep bouncing. Because WWE owns NXT. I don't know why they're so ashamed. Like, we have to split this up to make it seem like a different product. Why do we have to do that?
Because it's developmental. It's where they go to test them to make sure that they're doing the right things. Yes, it is. At this stage
of the game, if you still think it's developmental with people like,
yes,
Nakamura in there.
Yes.
So all these people in there, it's not developmental. They like this.
Nakamura has to come in there and get acclimated to the WWE environment and the way that they do things. Triple H has always talked about how guys come in and say and think that they know what the fans want, but we know what our fans want, and we have to get them acclimated to the way that we do those things. That's why Bobby Roode is still down there right now.
He doesn't. No, he's down there because Triple H needs a product, and that's just how it is. He needs people down there. And I feel like that's a stupid way to do business when you're like.
Why does he need people down there when that's developmental? Why not bring him up to the main roster if he's ready now?
You done? You done interrupting me?
I'm trying to bring up the points.
You talk for hours. I guess I can't do that.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Justin.
Thank you, Manny. Bobby Roode should do this.
The
And when he
relationship
does
is
this, it's going to add a new atmosphere to Raw. Raw needs something. It doesn't have to be Samoa Joe who will face Roman Reigns, and I don't need to see him versus Seth. I don't need to see Samoa Joe. And as good as Samoa Joe is, I don't need to see him in feuds with guys like Sami Zayn. I don't need to see it. I'm okay with him just being around. He could be world champion here and there, but I'd see Bobby Roode as a top heel. Somebody who he's like a different breed. He's something from the Attitude Era, just manifesting in this era, where he's like a combination. I've said this before: a combination of Randy Orton, Triple H, Batista, and Ric Flair all in one. He is evolution to a T. And when he comes out, he'd just be glorious. He's going to be that bastard. Like, I want to see him lose. I want to see. It could get Roman Reigns over even. It could get Seth. It could do. You make him an actual heel and do things with him. Samoa Joe, he's going to be a monster heel. He gets slayed in the end. Whoop-de-dee-whoop. He's going to be less mysterious with his mystique. Bobby Roode loses. That's going to drive him. When Triple H lost, you never thought for a second, like, well, we're done with Triple H. That's it. I mean, the mystique's kind of gone. I mean, he lost. No, he came back and he's like, you know what? Makes me even more determined to beat you, man. I'm going to take my hammer and beat your ass. I'm going to do what I have to do to beat you. Because Bobby Roode has that in him. He may be mini Triple H, but he's going to be manifesting his own character where he's like this egocentric guy where he wears robes, has this choir singing his entrance. He is going to be something that Raw needs. We need a star who's like a traditional wrestling star. He is back at TNA, they gave him the nickname It Factor. And it fits no one else better than Bobby Roode. And plus it gives us a chance to do something different. And I think we are all clamoring for, like, SmackDown's great because it's a little bit different here and there. Raw is mediocre and terrible from week to week. We need something to change just do some change. Give me something new instead of making me feel like I'm watching the same thing where Roman Reigns is like, I have to beat you guys. Oh, the Shield's back together. You remember us from a couple years ago? And all this stuff. Give us a proper world champion heel. Because AJ, as good as AJ Styles is, he's still not that great.
What the fuck are you about to say?
Champion. He is a great wrestler, great technician. He's just not that great as a heel champion. It doesn't make him like, man, I want to see AJ Styles lose today. God damn it. It's like, Bobby Roode has that.
Okay, but with all the adoration that you're giving Bobby Roode, you're not going to want to see him lose either. Because the fans are still chanting glorious no matter what. The fans are still in his corner no matter what.
I'm talking about the majority of people who watch the product are those people who are like, who still want to be entertained in wrestling, not us who like, we have to judge this because, oh, Vince is stock, oh, Vince is going to do this, or where we're just like, this is to joy as fans, god damn it. Why is it so hard these days where we have to feel like we're backstage all the goddamn time, where we just get a simple entertaining product? It's hard to knock Samoa Joe. It's very, very hard to do because he's very good. I know it's hard for you to knock Bobby Roode because besides saying he's just a processor or something we've seen before, Bobby Roode is a different breed. He may be something we've seen before, but from the past, he's manifesting in the present. He's taking on this new life. You don't know how refreshing it is when I turn into NXT and I see Bobby Roode being this character. It's like, man, I miss this about wrestling. I miss it so much. I don't need another King Kong Bundy or an Andre the Giant. I've had my fill with Big Show and Kane. I'm filled with these big guys. I'm tired of all these just legit monsters too. I want something that manifests as like liquid charisma, something that transcends where it's just, you are that character. You are this person. You are going to win a championship and you're going to add prestige to it, God damn it. And you're going to make it feel like it's gold in your hands. And like, I can't see a better opportunity than doing this with Bobby Roode. As great as Samoa Joe is, it's by the numbers.
Let's go ahead and bring this round to a close. The main event of this edition of Last Mark Standing. These are your closing arguments. This is it. This is for all the marbles, or at least all the marbles for Manny. Justin, you're trying to tie it up, but the point is the game could very well be decided right here. Yeah. So, Manny, go ahead and deliver your closing arguments for Samoa Joe to win the 2017 Royal Rumble.
Let me make this clear. I like both of our options, and I think Justin likes both of our options as well. We can agree on that, right?
I mean, yes, I do too. I'll throw myself in there.
But what you feel WWE needs at the time right now and what I feel WWE needs are completely different, and that's where we clash. Because Bobby Roode, as charismatic, as much pageantry and everything that he brings to the table, at the end of the day, his character, when he gets in the ring, when he works his in-ring psychology, when he works on the microphone, put his interests and everything aside, when he does those things, he is very similar to what we already have in an AJ Styles, in a Kevin Owens, when Seth Rollins was heel at the time, in a Chris Jericho, and guys like that. Whereas we haven't seen a monster heel like Samoa Joe since Mark Henry. And you talking about he's eventually going to get slayed because that's the nature of monster heels. Mark Henry didn't get slayed. He got beat by old age. He got beat by old age.
Okay.
That is the only reason that
Also,
he
now
can
live
continue to
interviewing
have that
is
same impact on the WWE as he had in his 2011 run. So it'd be great to get somebody like Samoa Joe in there who is younger and more athletic than Mark Henry and what he could do, to get in there and stomp some people out, because we haven't seen that in a long-ass time. We haven't been intimidated by a wrestler in a very long time. The only times we get that is with part-timers like Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, and sometimes The Undertaker when he decides that he's ready to wrestle. And that's about it. But Joe, if you have him there on a consistent basis, the stories that you can tell of people that are trying to overcome him, and eventually they do overcome him, and he still gets his revenge and isn't having that shit, I think those far outweigh what Bobby Roode is going to do with any of the faces that are on the Raw roster.
All right. And as Manny said, all of us like both options. But here's the thing with Joe. With Joe, what you see is what you get, basically. He's kind of a one-note monster guy. He's better than most big guys because he can move better. He's more agile. He's got more agility. He's more athleticism. Bobby Roode can do anything. You give him a role, he will do it. If you want him to be the snarky guy, like Manny says, he doesn't really do that, but he could do it. He'd be like, oh yeah, that, or this, that, and be like snarky, like Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins. He could be intense. And I'm thinking more, the Bobby Roode I want is the one they're using in NXT, who is so similar to Triple H and such a good, but his own thing at the same time. It's a weird blend. It's hard to explain. That's why I'm probably having stumbling over my words. I might lose because of that. But I think there's just something to him where he can fill any role, he will take it. And as a top heel champion, which is what we so desperately need, where Kevin Owens is such a big fucking failure as a Universal Champion, we need something to rectify all this. Damn. We need something who's not so snarky, someone who's intense, like, I'm going to beat you because I am better than you. That's how it is. I can out wrestle you. I can out charisma you. I can do all these things. When he said Glorious is not just a fun theme song or great theme song, I'm not going to even just write it off as fun. That's Michael Cole will do. He is glorious, and I feel every time he walks out, every time he does a move, and I feel the main roster, especially Raw, needs this. The Royal Rumble needs that. You hear Glorious at the Royal Rumble, you're like, what the hell? And then he wins. And picture this: juxtapose these two images. Samoa Joe pointing at the sign, because they like pointing at the sign at the end of the Rumble. That's gonna be cool. It's like, okay, Joe, you made it in your career, great. You see Bobby Roode do it, and just
I don't want Joe to point at the sign.
Huh? I
don't want Joe to point at the sign.
WWE's gonna make a point at the sign. Doesn't matter who the fuck you are, you're pointing at the sign.
I don't think Joe would do it.
You're pointing at that sign.
I don't think Joe would do it. Nope.
And you put Bobby Roode, and he points to that sign, and the pyro goes up. Something feels so right about that I can't just take that from him. Just because he's in NXT and he has to do this process that WWE doesn't have to abide by. They can make any rule they want. They are the head honcho. They can do it. They own NXT. It's not like that. It's like ROH. Like, oh, we're going to do ROH and do this. If they want to do something with ROH, they could easily do it. They got the money. And they
have these rules.
Why do they have? There's no need for them to have these rules. They can do things creative. They can do things interesting. And think about this. Raw has been such a shit show. I used to be Team Raw before the draft. I was during the first hour of Raw, first day of Raw, post draft. It is such a cesspool of just dog shit where nothing happens, nothing interesting going, nothing different. It's the same old, same old. Let's make jokes. Let's get Roman Reigns over. Oh, we're going to devalue Seth Rollins over here. We're going to do this. All these whack-ass storylines where nothing feels like it matters. Nothing imposing happens. So what I say, we take Bobby Roode, we make him the Triple H type, that heel who just can't lose as much as you want him to because he's just that damn good. And then Raw will get better. NXT will be better because he'll have the NXT title with him. And people are like, oh my gosh, I want to see what he does over on NXT. I'm going to buy a network subscription. Check out NXT because he's going to add more intrigue to it. He's going to be Universal Champion and NXT Champion. That's never been done before, never been heard of before. And he's just like, yeah, it's happening. I'm that damn good, right? And someone NXT can beat me. Nobody on the main roster can beat me. Nobody can beat me. And it's just something great about that. And I don't know why Manny's so against it. Samoa Joe's great, but what you see is what you get. He'll come in and be a badass for a couple months. He'll do his agile thing. It's not something we've unheard of. It's going to be great.
See, so but there's what the difference is. There's what the difference is.
No, Manny, you don't get a chance to speak. No. You had your closing.
Well, technically, Justin, on the last round, you did get some extra time. So.
All right, let me get some extra time. Let me just finish with Mike. And say your point, because I have a great final line.
Hurry up.
So finish your point.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying. Bobby Roode, that's where the difference is. Bobby Roode will come in there and he'll be interested in telling you that he's the best and displaying it for the fans and saying, I'm unbeatable and all this stuff. Where Joe is going to come in, he's going to tell whoever he's facing, I'm going to fuck you up. Not in those words.
I don't think that, television. And the TV.
But he's going to give that attitude that he's going to fuck you up. And then he's going to go out there and whoop your monkey ass all over that arena. He's going to bowl through you, and he's going to accomplish his goals. He's not in it for the frills and everything like that. He's in it to get shit done.
All right, that's your final point. When Manny says he can't get anybody over and that he doesn't have emphasis on who he is, remember Ty Dillinger, everybody? Sure, the 10 thing was over because people like to chant and do the 10. It's fun, gimmicky thing. But he was a jobber. No one took him seriously. He got in that ring and he got into a feud with Bobby Roode. People started like, yeah, Ty Dillinger, let's go win this Fatal 4, face Shinsuke Nakamura because Bobby Roode is that damn good, man. He can get Ty Dillinger from jobber status to potential main event star, man. You can't just give credit to NXT for that. The writers behind that. He had a part in that. And if he is just always over, we're not going to be like, oh, cheering with him. Like, we're just going to cheer with him regardless. He got Ty Dillinger fucking over, man.
I never said that Bobby Roode wouldn't be able to get people over.
Dude,
I don't know why you're
that's what he can do. And when he says he's glorious, he backs it up. And here's the final point. We need to make Raw Roode again. We need to make Raw glorious.
The final point.
Justin has had like 3 final points. Okay.
Well, my back's against the wall. I had to do something. So just tell Manny he won and we just move on.
Wait, you don't know? I do have to say something, though. Justin, you missed an opportunity when Manny was talking about how Mark Henry got defeated by old age. Samoa Joe is almost as old as Mark Henry was back in 2011. So
I didn't know the age.
Yeah,
because he doesn't look it. He may be that age, but he doesn't have the body.
I don't know, man. He's getting up there.
Mark Henry had problems because he was lifting so much goddamn weights, and his knees couldn't take it.
Okay, sure.
Okay. I would stand up and give you all a standing ovation if my head wouldn't extend past a green screen and it, looked like my head was chopped off. But
we got production value now.
What green screen am I talking about? I'm in the studio right now.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
But sir, I don't know if you guys planned this beforehand, but I don't know if I'm the only one that has noticed this either, but every single round, you all were just not just a difference in the answers, but a difference in the approach to the questions. Because once again, this time around, we have Manny saying Samoa Joe, as who he is right now, put him in the WWE. He's going to run roughshod over everyone. Justin is saying that Bobby Roode is so malleable, you can mix and mold him to fit whatever role that you need. And I think that there is a whole hell of a lot of value in what Manny was saying and what Justin was saying as well. So this is, shit, how am I going to do this? Because it's either a winner or a tie.
This is what you get when you get veterans.
I gotta say,
man, 2-0 lead to you.
Even though the score doesn't make it look that way right now, it's a whole hell of a lot closer than what it seems. I'll just give you credit for that one. But yeah, so it's either sudden death or a winner. Gonna put it like this. Manny is the last mark standing.
Woo! Yeah!
And once again, Manny, this was the first time in the 3 episodes of Last Mark Standing that we've done where someone has ran the table. So, Manny, you won every single round. And once I'll say, Justin, it doesn't look that way in the score, but this was a whole hell of a lot closer than what it seems. So I got to give you credit in that regard. If that counts for anything. Does it? No?
Yeah, it counts, I guess.
All right, Manny, any words? You are the winner. It is your stage.
Hey, this is what you get with championship material talent. You know what I'm saying? Duke, I know you said out there somewhere listening, I'm coming for your ass. And then who the fuck is the other jabroni that I'm going to squash in the next Last Mark Standing? What's his name? Lucas? Yeah. Who the fuck is Lucas?
Who is Lucas? One of the guys has been holding it down for PWF Empire.
Yeah, okay. But he ain't me, okay? I run this shit.
Okay.
Last Mark Standing champion. Out.
So Manny does move on to the championship round of Last Mark Standing. It will be Manny versus Duke versus Lucas. And make sure you guys are tuned in for that one. And until then, thank you all for tuning in to this Royal Rumble edition of Last Mark Standing. And on behalf of our competitors, our Marks, and PWF Empire, I'm Jay. Catch you later. Peace.